Asiya, Department of Computer Science. Today I am discussing Introduction to R Programming. First of all, we have to know what is a data science. Here, data science means it is a massive amount of data. It involves extracting meaningful insights. It means it has to collect the structured data and unstructured data. You have to calculate the methods and technologies and based on the algorithms. Now, why do we use the data science? It is the first we have to know the what is the data. Data means it is the information. In the information we have to collect this set of values. In this values also dividing two categories. One is qualitative variable and the second one is quantitative variable. Here qualitative variables are information about qualities. Let us see the examples. Our origin and gender and religion, these are the examples of the qualitative variables. And next coming to second category, quantitative variables. These are also taking the information, but these information are normally represented by numbers. It means we are taking the a person weight or a person height, a person age and a person blood pressure. Now coming to what are the components of data science? First component is a statistics. It is used to collect and analyze the numerical data in a large amount. And domain expertise means you have to develop the skills on a particular area. Next component is data engineering. Means it is used to, you have to acquiring the data, storing the data, retrieving the data and transferring one place to another data. Next component is visualization. Visualization means representing data in a visual context. So the people can easily understand the significance of data. Now last component is machine learning. It is the main important component of data science and it is the backbone of data science, and it provides training sets and it acts as a human brain. In data science, we can use the machine learning algorithms to solve a particular problem. Next, coming to data science process or data science life cycle. In this life cycle, we are seeing 6 data science concepts. First one is discovery, second one data preparation, third one model planning, fourth one model building, fifth one operationalize, sixth one communication result. Now, what is a discovery? Let us take one example. You have to conducting a project. The first phase is you have to know what are the steps we are doing that project. First, it involves asking the right questions, and you have to start any data science project, and you have to know the basic requirements and priorities and project budgets. And next category is data preparation. It is also known as a data munging. In this phase, you have to know what is a data cleaning, what is a data reduction, and what is a data interpretation, and what is a data transformation. These all tasks can easily access this data preparation. Next one, model planning. In this phase, you have to taking various methods and techniques to establish the relation between two input variables. Next one, model building. In this phase, you have to start the model building. First of all, you have to create a database, training dataset or testing dataset. You have to apply the different techniques, such as the techniques are association technique, classification technique and clustering technique to have to build that model. And next one, operationalize. And finally, how to complete this project? You have to show the final report of the project and briefing code and technical documents. And completely operationalize means overview of the complete project performance. Next, what is communicate result? You have to reach the goal and you have to set the initial phase. Whatever you are doing, you have to set the initial goal and we will communicate the final result with the business team. Coming to different job roles of a data science. Here, data scientist, data engineering, data analyst, data administrator and business analyst. Here, data scientist means you have to taking various amount of data. You have to apply in this method like tools, techniques, methodologies and algorithms. Next one, data engineering. You have to develop the data, you have to test the data and maintain the data. This data engineering is used in large scale processing system only. And the data analyst. he or she deliver reporting and visualization. What is, you have to first analyze the data in the business decisions. Next one is data administrator. You have to check the database to the relevant users or not. If the relevant user is not there, you have to reject that project. And it also check the performing correctly and keep it safe for hacking. And the business analyst. You have to improve your business processes. You have to intermediate between business executive team and the IT department. Next, coming to what is a database. Data means we previously discussed, it is the collecting the information. Here also a database is a systematic collection of data. You have to manage easily, and let us take one example. A online telephone directory uses a database to store the data of people, phone number and other contact details. In this database, we have several types of databases. First one is a distributed database. In this database is not in one place. You have to distribute at various organizations. Next one, relational database. This database is formed in the tables only. And next one, object oriented database. And this database supports the storage of all data types. The data must be stored in the form of objects only. And the next one, centralized database. The centralized location means user from different backgrounds can access the data. Next, open source database. This type of information related to operations. It is mainly used marketing, employee relation, customer service database. Now coming to transaction data. In this transaction data we have several types. First one is an active state, second one partially committed, third one committed state, fourth one failed state, fifth one terminate state. What is an active state? A transaction enter into the active state, the execution process begins. Here the transaction will be reading the operation or writing the operations can be performed. Next one, partially executed. A transaction goes into partially, it means after the end of the transaction. Next one, committed state. The transaction is committed state. It has already completed its execution successfully and its changes are recorded to database permanently. Next, failed state. This state fails or if the transaction is aborted. It means it is not the active state transaction. Next one, terminate state. These transaction terminate state which are leaving the system cannot be restarted. Next one, time series data. Here time series means taking particular observations. Let us see some examples. You have to calculate the weather report also, patient health report and economic indicators. Let us over a period of time you have to taking a several type of observations and these observations applied to the graphical representation, that is we are also known as the visualization of the time series of the data. Here time series of the data is also known as a data changes over time. Next one, stock exchange data. It refers to the information. Here security is the most important. Here let's see what security is based. Securities are provided as stocks, bonds, options and features. And some key features are there. First one is the regulation. These are regulated by government agencies only. Next one, transparency. The prices of securities are publicly available and it decides about buying and selling. Next one is liquidity. Means it provides a marketplace for buying and selling securities. You have to increase the investigators to buy and sell. Next one, centralization. A trader can execute on the exchange while the prices are constant and transparent. Next one, experimental design, and it is also a structured data and systematic approach. You have to answer a research question. What are the several components of experiment design? First one is a hypothesis. Here it is a clear and textable statements. You have to taking the real-time observations and you have to calculate the real-time experiments. Next one, independent variable. You have to calculate the data or you have to changing the data to test your hypothesis. Next one, dependent variable. You have these dependent variable always depend on the independent variable. Why means you have to taking the measurements and observations to the independent variable. These observations and measurements goes to the dependent variables. Next one, experimental group. These groups are allows to test the effect of the variable on the dependent variable. What is the replication? You have to repeat the experiment multiple times. You have to checking the results are constants or not due to chains. Next one, data attributes. Here data attribute means it is a variable, or you have to calculate what are the characteristics of the data and what are the properties of the data, and the person can be measured or observed. Here two types of attributes. Recently I have discussing what is a qualitative attribute and the quantitative attribute. Here let us see two types of attributes. One is a quantitative attribute. This based on the only numerical value, or you have to calculate these numerical values only. In this also you have to divide in two types. What is a continuous variable and what is a discrete variable? Continuous variable means it is a certain range. You have to measure with great precision. Let us see the example: person height, person weight, person temperature, and what is the time. Next one, discrete variable. This can only take on certain specific values and you cannot measure with great precision. Let us take how many children in the family and how many cars are parking and how many number of people in the room. And next one, categorical attribute. These are the non-numeric variables and these also divided into two types. One is nominal variable and the second one is ordinal variable. And these variables do not have inherent order. Means you can take the examples: gender, eye color, and country of birth. Next one, ordinal variables. These are categorical value and these are based on the hierarchy. And let us take example: education level, high school, college, graduate school, and coming to incoming level, low, medium, high, and coming to job title, entry level, manager or director. Next one, data analysis. What is a data analysis? It is a systematically examining and interpreting data, and it has to range of techniques and methods. These are the several steps are there. First one, data preparation. You have to clean the data and organize the data, and you have to check any missing data are there or not. Next one, descriptive statistics, and it involves summary statistics. You have to calculate the mean value, median value, and you have to represent the visualization also, and you have to create a histogram to describe the characteristics of the data. Now, inferential statistics. In this model, you have to finally complete the conclusion about the population based on the sample data. Next one, exploratory data analysis. This one also visualization. You have to relationship between variables and identity patterns in the data. Predictive modeling. You have to learn the machine learning algorithms only. You have to find out what is the predictive modeling. It can be used by the forecast and you have to identify the data. And next one, data interpretation. You have to calculating the result data that is based upon the independent variables and the independent variables, and you have to drawing the conclusion based on the finding which type of data, and you have to check any missing values are there or repeated values are there or not. And what is a data cleaning? It is also known as a data scrubbing, and it is used for you have to identifying the correct data, or you have to removing any errors, you have any inconsistency and inoccurrence in a data set. Here first one is identifying missing data. Whatever you have to taking the data, first of all you have to know the data is perfect or any errors. First of all you have to check any missing values in the data set. Any missing values are there, you have to decide how to handle them. And next one, you have to remove the duplicate values. Means you have to consist number of duplicate values, you have to remove them in the data set. Now correct errors. You have to firstly identify any errors are there. You have to incorrect values are submitted or not. Next one, standardized data. These data you have to measure the measurements consistently across the data set. Next one, handle outlier. You have to involve identifying and you have to removing outliers and transforming the data and treating them as a separate categories. Next one, check for consistency. Here consistency means you have to conflicting the information or contradictory data points or resolving any disturbances are there in the data or data set. Now what is data characterization? Same as data cleaning, you have to find out what are the properties of the data and what are the characteristics of the data. In this first one, identification of variables. You have to identify the particular data in the data set. Next one, what is the data type of measurement scale? You have to, a variable you should be have be taken, and that variable should be numeric and categorical or text, and could be measured as nominal, ordinal, interval or ratio scale also. Data distribution, it means you have to including how to calculate the mean, median and measurement of variability, and how to find out the range and standard deviation. Next one, data visualization, means you have to represent the visualization, means user can understandable easily. Then you have to represent the histogram, scattered plot and box plot. Next, data quality assessment. You have to taking the data in the training set, and these data you have to particularly check any missing values or outlier values and errors are occurred or not. Next one, data summarization. Any key features of the data, you have to include the mean, median, mode and standard deviation of each variable. Now let us see data models. In this model, mainly models are represent the data, and these models are stored in the database. Why these models are used? You have to communication between data items, means you have to conduct the relationship between data items. First one is a process model, data requirements, technical requirements. Mainly consider logical data modeling, physical data modeling and create and update data. What is a conceptual data model? You have to organize any database concept. Here three basic very important topics are there. Entity means you have to take any real world entity. Attribute means the thing, what are the characteristics or properties. Relationship means any dependency algorithm, you have to apply the association algorithm also. Here let us say example, customer and product are the two entities. You have to know what is the customer number and the customer name. Next, coming to what is the product name and product price, and these are the customer product relationship between the data model. Next one, logical data model. It is the structure of data elements, means previously we have seen data model. Now you have this logical data model, means you have to mention with data type also, means customer name means it will be represented as a string, and customer number means it will be represented as the integer. Likewise, product name also data type is string and the product price is integer. Now what is physics data model? You have to implementation of data model. You have to set a particular communication. You have to set the primary key and unique key. Next one, data mining. It is used for the organization. You have to specify data for a huge database to solve business problems. Whenever you have to taking any project, first of all you have to know what are the requirements and what are the priorities. Likewise, data mining concepts also, you have to know which technique, means first of all you have to know what is the classification, clustering, regression, outer sequential pattern, prediction and association rules. Here classification means you have to taking a large amount of data. This technique will helps to classify the data in different classes. Here clustering means to identify similar data, and this data will be formed as a grouping of data based on the similarities. Regression means you have to identify and analyze between which variable relationship, because there are number of variables are there. You have to find out which variable is to relationship between the two variables. Association rule. These technique to discover a link between two or more items, and you have to hide the data in the data set also based on the association rule. Next one, outer detection. This type of data mining technique, you have to collecting the observations of the data items or data set. These items are not matched, you need not implement the outer detection. If the data is matched, you have to implement the outer detection. Next one, sequential pattern. This technique is to help the recognize similar patterns in the transaction data over some time. Next one, prediction. It is the combination of other data mining techniques. Examples are cluster and classification algorithms. First of all, you have to know the analyze the right sequence of predict a future event.